Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Inga Cotton. I'm the founder and executive director of San Antonio Charter Moms, and these are Charter Moms Chats, and we're going live to talk about what parents need to know to keep their kids learning during the pandemic. And we've been featuring schools that are having open enrollment. And I'm so excited to have the two guys from the Frank L. Madla Early College High School, and it's down on the south side of San Antonio. And actually, these guys are repeat guests. They came on last summer to talk about friendship and making sure that kids know about their community that's supporting them. So I'm really happy to have them back on Charter Moms Chats. So Jeff Flores is the founding principal of Frank L. Madla Early College High School, and he's also worked at the Henry Ford Academy, and this has a long history as an educator. And he's a proud alum of Our Lady of Lake University. Right, go Saints!
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And then Khalid Zakaria is the academic counselor at Frank L. Madla Early College High School. So I've got some questions specifically about like the course sequence and what it means, like the partnership with Palo Alto and like how kids build their schedules and stuff like that. I think it's really important what you do, and we're just coming off of National School Counseling Week, so that's very timely to be talking about like what counselors do. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, great. Well, thank you guys so much.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
Okay, so I wanted to ask both of you guys, I know you've both been at Frank L. Madla Early College High School for a number of years, and I wanted to talk about like how things have, like what things were like when you're first getting started and how things have changed. And I hope that along the way, it gives people a sense of like, like what is this thing? What is an early college high school? So I'll hand it to Jeff first.
Okay. Yeah, so 7 years ago, we got the approval and we started to opening the school. Mr. Zakaria was a math teacher. He was one of the first hires to come on, and it was an exciting time because we sat down and the plan is, how do you make the best high school experience for kids, with the understanding that the goal is to have these kids get 6 years of school in 4 years. But also, it's a 6-year journey for us. It's not just finishing high school and getting associates. We want to see these kids finish their undergraduate degree. So we sat down and we came up with a plan and what's the best way to support these kids, how to support the families, how to keep them engaged. It was a lot of, we asked a lot of our kids, but we also have to support them and honor them. Zakaria came up with an amazing plan of our 5 milestones to continue to have our families involved with their kids' success, to keep the kids motivated, because it wasn't, we focused on academics. Out of that came our Letterman jacket, homeroom competitions, homerooms together. So that was our foundation of, if we build a strong community of support, our students will be successful. Because to come to our early college high school it's as simple as you apply. There's no entrance test, there's no interview. We believe that if you come in and you want to do this and you have the commitment to work hard to get this done, you'll be successful. And our job then as a school is to empower you, educate you, get you ready for this. So we sat down and we had a blank canvas, and we put things together. The beauty of it is, we're looking now, we graduating classes. We still do that. We look at every class and what can we do different? What can we, what's working? How can we make this stronger? How can we get more engagement? How can we make sure these kids are successful? As we see our alumni leave and they're off, and we have some kids now who with our first class who have finished their undergraduate degree from A&M San Antonio, UTSA. So we asked them, hey, what do you like about this? What got you prepared? So almost like every semester, we build ourselves in what works best for the kids. But Zakaria was a crucial part of that development. I've done this for 28 years, and I told him before, and it's not because it's just counselor appreciation week was last week. He is one of the best, if not the best, hire I've ever made in my career.
How does that feel?
gonna make me cry.
Yeah.
uh, just to kind of piggyback on what Mr. Flores was saying, I think that one of the I guess interesting pieces when we first opened up was everything was hypothetical, and we had no graduating class. We in theory it sounds like this works, and it sounds you get 2 years of college, you can finish your undergraduate degree by 20, 21 years old, you start working. I mean, all those things were great, but did we know that it was going to work? I mean, we theoretically, and everything was theoretical. And I think that that was one of the cool things about the evolution of the school, how things went from theoretical to probable to now it's expected. And I think that that's been a great transition that we've had, that seeing 3 classes graduate, seeing the alumni come back, and hearing, oh, Mr. Zakaria, I just finished my bachelor's degree, and what do I do next? Or I'm getting ready to go to law school, so I'm taking the next semester to prep for the LSAT. All those things are, they're a very awesome experience. But like I said, I think the big thing was the theoretical to now the practical. The yes, this actually works, and it really gives us a lot more to say, and a lot more to really talk to parents about, and have really candid talks about, this is how this program works. Like I said, when Mr. Flores and myself first came on, it was, well, let's try this out. I mean, there was trial and error, and we were fortunate enough to where we definitely had a lot more successes than we had mistakes. But the mistakes we learned, every mistake we made, we learned from, and as we learned, the process got better and stronger. I mean, and this year's, kind of challenged both of us to reinvent the whole process and reset everything. So, coming up with new best practices, coming up with new things that we can do. And, some things are specific to this time. Some things, it's almost, we're sitting back like, why haven't we done that since 2014? So, we definitely got pushed out of our comfort zone, but it's also good to know that even being pushed out of our comfort zone, we still found even new and better, new and more improved ways to reinvent ourselves and challenge ourselves, like we challenge our students to be the best version of themselves all the time, to always strive for greatness.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. That's a great segue, because the next question is for Mr. Zakaria, and I wanted to talk about, like, a little deeper about this concept of they're balancing 4 years of high school plus 2 years of college, and setting the stage for their next 2 years of college, right? Like at a 4-year institution. So
Yes.
so how like, as a counselor, like how do you guide them through that, and kind of what trade-offs do you make? And like personally, like I have an 8th grader, so I'm starting, like, high school is like starting to seem real. Like
Yeah. Likewise. I have an 8th grade son too. So it's I think the big thing, Stephen Covey talked about, begin with the end in mind. So that's one of the first places we start at. When I meet with new students, when I meet with new families, the first question I ask is, where do you see yourself after high school? Where do you see yourself as an adult? And based on that plan that I hear, we reverse engineer that to happen. A lot of it is, keeping that focus on where we want to go with this. I've been, the last 2 weeks, I've been having parent meetings where I meet with my rising seniors, class of 2022. And, it sounds crazy. Maybe it's a little bit too proactive, but, I tell the parents, we're 15 months from graduation. So in these next 15 months, this is everything that needs to happen. And, just building that transparency, building that trust, building the relationship with the parents and the students, and understanding, like, this is our clear path, the first 3 years, and then the next 3 years. I've been kind of retraining myself when I talk about best practices and, how to reinvent how you do things. I've been telling parents that this round of meetings, I'm not calling this their 4th year of high school. I'm calling this their 2nd year of college. So, and calling this their 2nd year of college, it begins to take on a whole new meaning, because it's real easy to say, oh, your senior year of high school is this, your senior year of high school is this. Well, we still want to have all the fanfare. We still want to have all those senior traditions, but in effect, senior year of high school is their 2nd year of college. So when we have our students taking, 12 to 15 hours a semester, that's to get them ready to transition to a 4-year university where they can, seamlessly transition in without that slump or that fear of, I can't do this. So, it's little things. It's how we phrase things. It's how we, express ourselves and explain this process to students. So, like I said, just getting students involved, getting students to understand, and families to understand, this is real. This is not, the like I told you more, this is not the theoretical anymore. Now we're really getting into major courses where students are beginning to, apply to look at applying to colleges and selecting majors and saying, I want to study computer science, or I want to study criminal justice, or I want to study education. All those things we begin to plant those seeds early on, and just constant planning. We start with an eight. We start with an 8 semester plan, then a 7 semester plan, then a 5 semester plan. I mean, literally, it goes semester by semester by semester. Again, always with that end goal in mind.
Right, right. Well, I like how specific that is, because like
Hmm.
as a parent with a child sort of on the cusp of this, and like I was realizing oh, he's taking algebra one, like this really matters, right? It
Hmm.
starts to count towards right, and then like there's the standardized testing and of course exams that come into play, but just like understanding what builds like a high school diploma. But what you're saying is like it really goes more than that, because the high school graduation is not the finish line, right? The goal
No.
is an independent adult who loves what they do, can contribute to society, is like proud of their work, feels passionate about their work, and then
Hmm.
and then what what certifications or degrees do they need to get there, right? And then working backwards from that. But I guess like as a mom, like well, I mean, I'm going off script a little here, but like how do you get kids talking about how they see themselves as adults? Like are they a little shy about it sometimes, or like how do you kind of draw those?
Um,
I'm asking kind of as a mom, and not just as a
uh,
state charter mom here. So
it,
I'm like, how do you do this?
it's funny because you almost have to phrase the beginning of every talk you have with the end in mind. Instead of saying next year you take algebra one, it's okay, by your senior year, I want you taking pre-calculus. So in order to take pre-calculus your senior year, we need to do, algebra two our junior year. We need to do geometry our sophomore year. And that's why we have algebra one happening freshman year. So again, it's that training process of beginning with the end and then reverse engineering it backwards. So when they tell me this is what I want, well, everything that we're doing now is a derivative of what you wanted and the reverse engineering process of that. So a lot of that is just training, repeating. Again, you want to break the paradigm of we're moving forward from where we're at right now. We have our mind already in the future, and we're moving backwards with that. So again, that takes training, that takes building up. When I start talking to students, like, okay, you want to go to college. That means in order to go to college, you're going to take the SAT your junior year. You're going to take the SAT your junior year. That means your sophomore year, you're taking the PSAT. Okay, that means your sophomore year, you're taking the PSAT. It means ninth grade, we need to start working on those skills that are going to be present for 10th, 11th, and now going into 12th grade, building into college. So um, I wish I could take full credit for it. I've learned a lot at the school, and it's been a process of just training, just getting that mindset of this is how I need to adjust my speech. And I find myself doing it with my son too. When he tells me, okay, Dad, well, how do you get to college? Okay, well, son, let's start with your senior year and let's work our way back down. So the things that you do now, the habits you're picking up, the maybe the anxiety you get about testing, or the thoughts the perceived weaknesses you have in a particular subject. Okay, well, let's start addressing those things now, so they no longer become weaknesses, so we can ultimately get to our end goal.
Right, right. Yeah, I've been thinking about like, so like my son, like he's really curious about words and like word origins and stuff. I think, like this could be an opportunity to do a little vocabulary practice, right? And then
Hmm.
it's like let's do that before the PSAT and before the
Yeah.
SAT, right? Because that's a lot of what they test on those standardized tests is,
Hmm.
so yeah, like kind of knowing your kid. Oh yeah, Jeff,
I think a lot of it is that, like Zachariah said, it's a constant communication. It's a constant reminder of these kids. So we have a common language at the school. So some of these kids will get tired of hearing PSAT and SAT and testing and that. But we go back to whatever their goal is freshman year. We revisit that goal throughout their 4 year career with us, and we go and we have to know to the parents, look, if your dream is A&M College Station, that's our dream now. So now every decision we make with you, and we help you make those decisions, it's going back to, is this going to get me into A&M College Station? Is this going to get me into Notre Dame? It's going to get me, doing this, is it going to get me to be a veterinarian? And all of those things. And we remind them of that. And it's a constant it's a constant thing, knowing that it's going to change. We don't fool ourselves that these are 14, 15-year-olds who, freshman year want to be a doctor, sophomore year they want to be a teacher, junior year they want to be a dancer, and senior year. So we work through that, but we also give them that. Our goal is to give that confidence to you. Okay, what's the best thing for you? At the same time, having the parents understand that your child is growing up. I think a big benefit for Zachariah and I both is that we both have kids in this age level. So I have a junior, a freshman, and a seventh grader. I have a musician, a scientist, and an artist. Those are all different conversations, but it's the empowerment of those students that's crucial for us to have them see themselves 10, 15 years from now.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's some key themes that I'm hearing from you all. The one is, so Zach talked about that it's a communication strategy where like you start with the goal and you work backwards from that, and you keep revisiting that plan like every semester and even more often, and just realizing like, okay, to go in to enter this college, like this is the math class you need to be having by your senior year, right? And like to apply to college, you have to take the SAT by this time, the PSAT by this time, right? And so whatever skills you need, if right, like I mentioned vocabulary, you mentioned sort of test anxiety, work on that now so that when the time comes to take the test, you're ready. And both of y'all have kids in this age range, so not only do you have like your years of experience as a teacher and all the times you've tried things and be like, okay, let's do it differently next time, right? And keep learning from that. But like for your own kids, like realizing just how different kids are from one child to the next, or like even from 1 year to the next, they might change what their plans are, but just keep talking to them about it.
Exactly.
And I think I always tell students, changing your mind is not the end of the world. I'm never going to lock a 14-year-old into what they said, because like Mr. Flores said, I can ask them in December what they want their major to be, and we meet in February and it's already changed 3 times. That's okay. And I tell students, get those experiences under your belt. Sometimes finding out what you don't like is just as valuable as finding out what you like. And I think for a lot of students, getting them that exposure, because when people talk about students and the lack of success or lack of persistence when they get to college, a lot of it is they have no idea not only what they want to do but what they don't want to do. So they spend a lot of time starting off with things that they may not know they don't want to do, but it doesn't take them long to realize this is not something I want to do. Yeah, I had a real outgoing extroverted student, and the student was animate. Mr. Jacker, I want to study computer science. I want to be a computer programmer. Okay, great. Took computer programming classes, and after the first semester he said, all we do is sit in front of the computer and type. I said, yes sir. That's what a computer programmer does. And he said, well, I think maybe I want to try something different. And it was an honest, candid conversation, because then it's like, okay, well maybe that's not for you. I tell students I couldn't sit at the desk all day. That sitting at a desk all day, that was never the job I wanted. I've been wanting to be a teacher, an educator my whole life, and part of it is because I get to move around all day. And for me, that works. For some people, they don't want to talk to anybody, looking at a microscope or looking at a computer screen, that's great for them. For other students, that may not be for them. But again, giving them those experiences and giving them those opportunities to see, is it something I'm really going to like? And having those talks, freshman, sophomore, junior year, exposing them to careers, exposing them to different colleges, letting them see what a major looks like. All those things are critical when we talk to students about how to select those courses and how to move forward and, ultimately how to be successful.
Yeah, it sounds like the important thing is just like get off the sidelines, get in there and try something, right? Like make your best guess and take some classes and then try it.
We're deliberate in making sure our students become their biggest advocate for themselves, because our kids are always ahead. They're going to be college freshmen, a lot of them when they're 14 years old as a high school freshman. That means at 18 years old they graduate high school, they're going to go into degree level courses. So they have to make sure they have that confidence, understanding. So we put that in our program. So early on, we work with them on, the high school degree plan, understanding that how the degree plan works. But we're also very transparent with them. The same way we want them to experience, different experiences. We do have very candid conversations with students. If you have a kid, I know use myself as an example. I was not very strong in math and science in high school. So I kind of knew if I wanted to be, a doctor, I had to really have a good look at myself and am I going to do this? What's the plan? What does it take? We do that with our students early on. So we make sure they answer, look, if you're going to do this, here's the path for it. Because they become empowered, hopefully by senior year, the meeting with Zakaria on their schedule is a very short meeting because they're saying, I'm going to go here, this is what I'm going to take. They have that in place already. Now, it works both ways. We have some students who realize, hey, I'm not really strong in math, but if I do this right, I could finish college algebra my senior year, first semester, and I'll never have math again. So that's their goal sometimes. Now, they also know, hey, look, if you change your major, that may change, but that's the empowerment that we have to do with our students to make sure they are ready. Because one thing we don't want to do is we can't handhold our students for 4 years. And then they go off to University of Arizona, University of Virginia, they go off to College Station, Austin, UT. Well, there's no Florida Zakaria there holding their hands with it. You have to empower them. Here's what you do. Here's what here's what you're going to ask for. Here's your schedule. How do you get a schedule? How do you do all these different things? That is crucial for us, so our students are empowered to do that. Because if we're going to have these kids ready to graduate early, we have to get them ready. They're entering the workforce. Some of our kids at 20 years old with undergraduate degree, and that's part of our plan. So we really empower them to understand the transfer guides, and like Zakaria was saying, it's reverse engineering. It's how do I get to where I want to get? We always tell our students that they're built for greatness. That's what we always tell our kids. But in these 4 years, we want them to find that greatness within them and then walk in that greatness. And walking in that greatness doesn't mean I always get A's. It's always easy. Walking in that greatness is, hey, when I get into a difficult spot, I know how to work through this. I know how to ask for help. I know how to seek assistance. I know how to be a help to someone else. That's walking in your greatness. And we tell our kids almost daily, that they're built for greatness, that they're designed for this, that they're loved, that they matter. That's a big part of if they feel that, they could then focus on the academics, and then they know, hey, there's a support network here. It's very telling that we have students who graduated 3 years ago who are now looking to go to law school or graduate school, and they come back and ask Zakaria, say, what do you think about this? That to me is amazing that the students still feel that connection to come back and see, our input on what their goals are. And now sometimes they come back and they're bragging about it, on the side, but that's also great because that's what we want. And we've had alumni come back and talk to our underclassmen, and some of those talks are, hey, look, this is difficult. There's a reason why our model is the way it is. We have some kids who say, well, hey, my cousin or my neighbor's senior year is pretty easy, and ours isn't. And well, that's by design, because you can't take an easy high school senior year and then go into junior level courses at a university. It's not going to be good for you. So it's that constant reminder that in order to get where you want to go, it's that hard work and that you are designed for this and you can do it.
Yeah, that's the thing that I think about a lot. I have a friend whose daughter is now a freshman in college, and she's kind of thinking back about what can we what worked and what didn't work to help build her independence, so that now at college she can navigate these things. And
exactly,
it's something that's on my mind a lot. I don't really know the answer, but I think Jeff's on there. Jeff's got something, with the "you are built for greatness," right? Like making sure that they feel loved and supported. Is there a little bit of kind of letting them make mistakes and then helping them solve?
I was going to say, we want our students. One thing that we always tell our students, like Uriah is always reminding them, a 4.0 is great, but you also learn a lot when you struggle in a class. One thing that we have to teach our students is it's okay to ask for help. ask for help early, understand when I don't understand, understand when I am struggling. How do I get there? How do I get that support? But I have again, I have my own teenagers, and these kids are like my kids at the school. And I always tell the parents, in these 4 years of adolescence and on all those things, teenage angst, they're gonna trip, they're gonna stumble. We won't let them fall though. So they're gonna trip a little bit, they're gonna stumble. That might be a bad semester, a bad course, you know, not some work not being done, but we're not gonna let them fall. And we want the parents to do the same thing. We can't. Um, I go back to again. We can't handhold them and do everything for them. Now, for us, it comes pretty quick because they learn when they're in a college course. They're the only person in that course. We get grades at midterm and at final. We told mom and dad, you can't call the professor, you can't call
Hmm.
the college. They're college students. Um, a lot of our students, well, almost all of our students, they step up to that, and they get that. Oh wow, this is on me now. It has been a struggle, a little bit more with the pandemic, of not having that face to face with the kid. But I always tell my students this year, especially this year and last year seniors, don't let this situation impact you for the rest of your life. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna get out of this pandemic, and your dreams are still there, and I want you to do that, and you have to keep working through this, and that's part of your greatness of working through that, and having that grit, or we call it ganas, of you're going to keep working through this when there are struggles. So we do want our kids to have some struggles, because we know in life you're going to have some struggles, and we don't want our kids the first time they're off from home at a university somewhere, and they get that first C or that first D, and they panic. We want them to say, okay, wow, I got to really get back to study. I got to rewrite this. I got to go to tutoring. We want them to say, okay, this is a little speed bump, but it's not going to take me off track. We want that inside. We want that. We want to build that in them.
Yeah, yeah. That is wow. This is I feel like this is I'm so glad I work at what I do because I learned stuff along the way and I apply it to my own family. And I hope that
Hmm.
I'm really proud to have this on our channel because I think this is going to help a lot of families, and I hope it gives families insight into, Frank L. Madla at Early College High School and the kind of culture that you have there. But even if that particular school doesn't work, even if I have people in California or Massachusetts watching this, I think a lot of families of like middle schoolers or high schoolers can benefit from these ideas about, um, you know, like you said, don't handhold for them, let them trip or stumble, let them, hit a speed bump, but don't let them fail. Um,
Yeah.
show them that they have the strength, that they are meant for greatness, and they can get through this. They can ask for
Hmm.
help, and whatever struggles they have, they will learn from it, and they'll be stronger from it.
Yeah. One thing
Absolutely.
that we do that's always interesting is that Zachariah and I share our college transcript with the students, and I show them that I'm real transparent. I took college algebra 4 times. It cost me about, looking back now, about 20 grand because of private school and taking college courses. Um, but they didn't stop me. And I always tell the kids, I could have taken it just once if I really studied that and worked at it.
Hmm.
So if you have a tough semester, it's okay to do that. Zachariah shows his grades, but he had a lot better grades than I did. Uh, and it shows the students that you're going to have these things. Zachariah wanted to be a doctor for this first class where he had to,
When I saw the dissected cat, I I started as a biology major. I saw the cat. I said, I'm pretty good in math. Politely walked onto the registrar. We talk about empowerment. One of the big things I think is becoming aware, self awareness. That's a big component of everything we do with our students. And a lot of it is understanding, where you're at and what you're willing to do. I never tell a student you can't. What I will tell a student is, are you prepared to do what it takes to do that? And that's a different talk. If a student is not strong in math, it's not you can't be an engineer. It's, are you prepared to study 3 times as hard to pick up on something? Because, and if you are, great. I tell students, in college there were things that I literally I had to change my entire life and everything, the way I did things to meet that goal, or to figure that thing out. And it's funny because I use my own experience and coming up with different processes and things that work, and trying to teach kids new and different things. One of the things that we do at the school that has been real successful is we've incorporated academic labs into our student schedules. And part of the reason why it's a time for students to work on their classwork, catch up on any work. But one of the big things with that is, how do you teach students how to study during the day? Because 90% of high schoolers graduate from high school and think, I can't start studying until I get home at 5 o'clock. And then when you get to college, you realize everything starts happening at 6 o'clock. So what happens to your studying? And you have all this time during the day that you never learned how to study during the day. So, getting students to understand, like, it's okay to study during the day. Just because we call it homework doesn't mean you have to wait till you get home. You can do it. It's really independent work. And because independent work, I teach you to do it independent of class. So, again, little things like that. How do you build in those habits? A lot of times, a lot of things that we do unknowingly create built-in handicaps for students that don't translate to success at the next level. So what we want to do is start building things that are going to translate to success moving forward. And those things that translate to success, I mean, sometimes it could be something as simple as, how do you teach a kid to study during the day? I can tell you, going through K through 12 education, there was never a time where I studied during the day. Like the concept didn't even, it wasn't even something that I would have ever thought of, like, study during the day. Why? I'll just do it when I get home. But then when I got to college and I waited till all my classes were done, even though I had gaps in between every class, I didn't want to start studying until 6 o'clock. And then it's knocks on the door like, hey, you want to go to the cafeteria? Hey, you want to go hang out? And then it's like, oh my gosh, I'm behind now. But, trying to teach kids, how do you start building on those things? So yeah, that's just one of the things, like I said, we look at here.
Yeah. And that's so much of the value that a school can provide, which is like, it's not just the subject matter, but it's helping kids, learn all that extra stuff, studying during the day, note taking, test prep, time management, just a lot of extra stuff they need to know. And because y'all have this, the students are interacting with college courses already, so they're getting exposed to what those expectations are, but they're doing it in an environment where they're getting the support and they're getting the message of, like, yes, I believe in you, but also, they're having frank conversations, but also like, okay, what's it going to take to get you to this goal? And we're going to help you figure out how to get there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I wanted to ask Zach about actually, and then I'll ask Zach first, and then Jeff. But, like, during the pandemic, like, how do you keep people engaged? How do you keep the students engaged? And kind of, you mentioned earlier, like, there's some things that are like, oh, why did we start doing this sooner? This is actually a good idea. So what are some of the things that you might keep even, like, beyond the pandemic?
Not having such a fear or aversion to virtual meetings. I think that was one of the first things. When we first started with the pandemic, and when we switched over a year ago to virtual classes, it was kind of like, okay, well, this is only going to be for a little bit. And you kind of had this concept on your mind, like, we're going to go back. But once I got over, and it took me till probably slightly through the summer to start saying, it's okay to have a virtual meeting. It's okay to meet with someone virtually, because sometimes you just need to meet. Now, does it replace face-to-face? If I could go back to face-to-face, I would love to. But I think one of the big things is understanding that the virtual meetings since 2016, 2017, I every year I've met with all of my juniors, rising senior parents. This year, all of my meetings moved to Zoom. It's not a bad thing. We were able to go through the same amount of information. Now, we had to, Zoom and share screens and use Google Docs and make it interactive. But those are all things that, again, instead of forcing, or I don't want to say forcing, but trying to squeeze this square peg into this round hole and say it has to be this way, I think just maintaining openness on how we deliver information. I think because this pandemic, we've had to deliver information very quickly, sometimes with not a lot of turnaround. So coming up with, faster and better methods on how to distribute information, how to give out information, those are some of the things I'm definitely going to take with me. How do I go about, making sure students' needs are met. I think that the big thing I would say is understanding that there's not a bad thing with virtual, and sometimes it's something that does. I probably spend more time now talking with parents virtually, either through electronic communication or through Zoom or through meetings, than I did before, because I kind of took for granted. So I took for granted, the fact that I could just have an after school meeting. But, even with an after school meeting may get 30-40% of my parent population, where a Zoom meeting, I'm hitting 75-80% of my population. So, there's definitely advantages to that. When I would do my face-to-face parent meetings in the past, it was okay. Well, I work during the day, or I can't come in, or and try to bend around a schedule to make something happen. Now, okay, here's your link. Let's log in, and I think we've been a lot more efficient with everything that's been going on. So I definitely think that's a big thing that I've taken away, is just being okay with virtual, understanding what it is, understanding its place, and it's never going to replace my face-to-face meetings. Once we can have those again, I'm going to be the first one happy to see them. But in the meantime, I think that getting comfortable with this has definitely been a rewarding experience, if nothing else.
Right. It's a tool in the toolbox, and there will be times
Yes.
when virtual meetings are the best way to go in the future, and you just have that flexibility. And by now, pretty much everybody's had a chance to get comfortable with Zoom. So
Yeah, or making a Zoom recording, recording myself going over something, like all those things were things I never would have done before. I thought about it, but now that it's been placed into the world of necessity, it's, hey, you know what? This is not bad.
right. I mean, I could have been doing live videos before, but I don't know. I had a learning curve about it, right? And then I started taking the audio from these and sticking it in a podcast. So I have a podcast now. So there you go. So, and I'll probably keep doing these. It's like now I see the value of it, and right. And like you said, you can save these things. People can come back to it later, and so it opens up time. As far as who's at work, who's at home, what side of town are you on? Yeah, it just opens up so much possibility there. But yeah, I am looking for. I want to come visit the campus. So as soon as I get vaccinated, or as soon as y'all let visitors come, I'm there. So.
Absolutely. It's pretty quiet now, but hopefully we'll be back to rocking and rolling real soon.
Yeah. Okay, so I always like to close these things out by getting to the details about how to enroll, because I hope that the folks watching this and listening are pumped and are like, yes, I can see my kid going to early college high school at Frank L. Madla early college high school. But so before we do like the details, maybe I can have like Jeff and then Zach like just share like what's like a takeaway, like what's something you want parents to know about early college high school, or what kind of school culture y'all have.
So I know going to high school is a big decision for parents and for kids. It's a crucial time in their life. As an educator, I want every student to be successful. That sometimes is at our school, but sometimes somewhere else. At Madla, we pride ourselves, even though we have amazing test scores and amazing statistics when it comes to graduates and college credits, all that. We really pride ourselves that our students here every day are reminded that they're loved, that they matter, that they're important, that they have a voice. Because we use that to build them up so they can understand their greatness and walk in that greatness. And every day it's a reminder. You asked about the pandemic. I usually tell the kids throughout the day, positive stuff, and I don't see them anymore. And I've used Schoology for years. I post pictures sometimes, little quotes and stuff, and just recently, I started to use like an emoji video that I have a real big fake head and a cartoon character, and I tell kids that because that's going to get their attention, and some of them will laugh about it, but we want them to be reminded of those things. We're a school where we have high expectations. We remind our kids of who much is given, much is expected. We're one community. The success of one of our kids is all of our success. So with our school at Madla, and for parents, this is a school where in 4 years, you can get 6 years of education for free. All of our college credits, books, everything is covered. And then, we work with the other universities across the country, across the state, to get your student transferred into that. So you're cutting off, 2 years of graduation, of of education in there. They're graduating early. They'll always be ahead of their peers within that. We do that, and it's very challenging for the student, but it's also a very supporting network here of, of the Madla community.
I, I, I think Mr. Flores stole all of my phrases, all of my ideas.
But
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of piggyback on it, we definitely want to provide the best environment possible for our kids to be successful moving forward. We're definitely going to challenge the students, um, but for every challenge that we provide our students, for every difficult course or uh, tough test you prepare for, all those things, we approach everything as a labor of love. I talking about talking about how we all have students or our own children who are around this age. I would hear Miss Flores say it, and as my son started to get older and older, I began to really embrace I'm treating you like I would treat my own son, and the same expectations I have for every student here, the same expectations that I would put on my own son, the same way or the same strategies I would give with him, or I would never hold back information for my son that I wouldn't give to my students, and that's one of the things that it's a family here, and that's become a real almost cliche term in education, but we really do operate and function like these are our students. I never, oh, that's a student, but he's not really one of mine. No, they're all my students, and I love all of them. We give everything we can to our students, and sometimes love is not always a smiling face. Sometimes love is a little bit firm, and sometimes love can
Yes.
come with maybe even a hurt feeling. But again, it's all a labor of love. We do it because we want the best for our students, and that's, I guess, the biggest takeaway is we try to provide the best possible avenue for our students to be successful. And I say this in meetings all the time. If this was just about me getting your kid to graduate from high school, that's easy. I can get a kid to graduate high school, but getting them to really think about success, move on to success, transition to success, and become successful, that's where the real reward comes in. So that's something I try to offer to all my students.
yeah, I did think it started in 2014 at the a blank slate, and then y'all got to, build this up, right? Start with the end in
Yes,
mind, which is graduating students who are, who themselves can be independent and have their goals and work really hard to reach their goals, and know that they've got a team that's cheering for them and that treats them like
absolutely.
family.
That's absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna. Oh, thankfully, your the marketing team from New Frontiers is.
Yes.
So I should mention. So Frank L. Madla Early College High School is part of the New Frontiers Public Schools charter school network, and so they're chiming in. So this is the actually, and I have another. Okay, so it's 9th and 10th graders that are applying, and then the deadline is the end of the month. But so this is the best time
Yeah,
to
that's the
apply.
best
I'm
time.
gonna.
That's the best time to do. We're open enrollment, so we take kids throughout the whole year, but this is the time to get in, and so you don't get on the waiting list. You don't get out of it because we have to get these kids ready for college. We got to get them in college early on, so we're always a semester ahead of everybody else. So the sooner you can apply, the better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, good. And what are some good ways for families to learn more about Frank L. Madla Early College High School? So I know that y'all have done. I mean, there's this event and there's like things like virtual tours and stuff. But yeah, what are good ways to learn more?
So we have a virtual open house or virtual info sessions that are posted on our webpage and they're also on Facebook under Franklin Madla Early College High School. But also you can call the school at 210-486-3686 and they'll contact either Ms. Zakaria and we will talk to parents about this, about the transition. We both know the importance of this transition, so we take time to make sure that it's the best thing for their student. One thing that Zach and I both pride ourselves on, we, our job is not to sell the school, to get people, hey, come to our school. It's not a car lot. It, is this what we have? Is it the best fit for you? And if not, hey, there's other great networks of schools out here. There's other great programs that your kid can take. If your student's involved in something else, And that, I think, is one of the strengths of San Antonio, is a lot of the schools work together to make sure what's best for kids. So if they need to contact us, we'll talk them through the whole process of high school and seeing that bigger picture to make sure that they're successful. Because again, their success is the greater success.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's why I really appreciate y'all coming. I mean, in this chat today, you guys have shared so much information that's relevant, I think, to any parent of like a middle schooler or a high schooler, or even college students. Like, as far as like, how do you find that right balance of like, guiding them but stepping back, like listening to them, keeping the conversation going, setting the high expectations, but then talking to them, very specifically about how hard they're gonna have to work to get there. I mean, that's relevant to all of us. What I hope is that families, they can take that away and apply it to raising their own children, and and it gives them a sense of what the culture is like at Frank L. Madla Early College High School. But yeah, you're not twisting their arm. But and they have to realize that they are going to have to work a little harder than maybe if they went to like a lot of high school seniors kind of blow off their senior year. But maybe that's not really good preparation for life. Maybe that's time to like use that time to get more college credit and get closer to your goal.
Mm-hmm.
Every time.
Get algebra out of the way, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe try something and realize, no, I don't want to do the dissections.
Yeah. Or sometimes it's calculus too is hard. Like it's those experiences, those lessons. But hey, if we shield them from everything, they would never learn anything. So sometimes we have to give them those experiences, and that's one of the great things about the school.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna pop the website address one more time. So it's the initials, Frank L. Madla Early College High School, and then newfrontierspublicschools.org. And so on the website, they can click the link to apply. They can find out when the virtual tours are, the phone number for the schools there, so they can call and get in touch with y'all and just talk it through. Like, what does high school mean, and what does early college high school mean, and is this the right fit for their own child? So
absolutely.
All right. Okay. Well, thanks so much, guys. I'm so glad to be able to talk to you, and I'm really looking forward to the buildings reopening and being able to come down there for a tour.
Yes,
love to have you.
Love it. Thank you so much.
Have a good one.
All right.
Take care.
Bye.